Testing. This is a test. We're testing the test of the test. This is test audio, but we're going to do a show in 1 second.
We're going to do a show.
It sounds correct.
We're going to do a show. No, it hasn't gone live yet.
Unmuted and the video's gone, and here we are. Oh my gosh, everybody.
Welcome everybody to America's preeminent Simpsons podcast
and America's post-eminent
well. It's our pre and post-eminent podcast about the Simpsons. Homerphilia. That means love of Homer in Greek. We love Homer. We watch an episode of The Simpsons so you don't have to. And then we talk about it for almost.
Is that our
3
motto?
times
We watch
long.
The Simpsons so you don't have to? That's
Yes,
a good
that's the
shirt
goal of
right
the-
there. That's a good shirt idea.
That's why we're doing this, right? So other people don't have to.
Yeah, I think so. All right.
Yeah, we are doing this to actively prevent The Simpsons from gaining popularity and viewership.
They've made enough money.
Back Groening know that we're out here doing work so people don't have to watch his show anymore.
Good.
Devin and I love it. Darren's learning to love it.
I
He
am.
never watched The
You know what?
Simpsons.
I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to tell you that today's episode I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. It was, and it had. I'm starting to see what you guys are talking about. How it just jumps from thing to thing to thing. They have enough running bits that they can fall back on, and this is the first episode that really felt like, oh, there's runners that are like Simpsons running bits that they're, there's a Flanders running bit in this one. There's a Troy McClure running bit in this one. There was so much stuff, and it was just like, oh, there's like, it's getting there.
An extended McBain.
Yeah, extended
reference
McBain.
Today.
Maybe the most famous McBain line of him just yelling Mendoza.
Mendoza.
Yeah.
We're talking Saturdays of Thunder, season 3 episode, technically 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I think
a
so.
real good one. Simpsons wiki. We have the new thing where we run down the little whatchamacallit. What's it called?
The production number.
The production number. We dissect the production number. This is season 3, episode what now? Episode
It's called
10
Saturdays
technically.
Wonder.
So it's the 10th one originally. Now it's 9th after we pretend like Michael Jackson doesn't exist. So this is we've done this thing where we stop going on tangents until after we do the wiki run through the thing. So
I don't know what you mean. We've never gone on a tangent in our lives.
exactly. No, we haven't. But let's. So
Or
this is
sign.
this is
Or
episode episode number 44. The production code is 8F07. We're November 15, 1991 right now. So this is a Homer and Bart Simpson episode. The chalkboard gag was "I will not fake rabies." The couch gag was the classic legs behind head couch gag. And we had our Phil Hartman as Troy McClure, and we had Larry McKay as the television announcer, written by Ken Levine and David Isaacs, and directed by Jim Reardon. So Bart becomes deeply immersed in competitive soapbox racing, and Homer tries to figure out how to connect with his son while ignoring his daughter. I mean, it's a pretty classic Simpsons episode.
Classic Simpsons, yeah.
It really had the feel of it.
This is a beloved episode, I think. I loved it.
I want to note there was a legitimate I Carumba in this one.
Was there?
There was an actual I Carumba when Martin unveils his soapbox car, the honor roller. The honor roller is his car name, which is a good one. Bart says I Carumba.
That's 7 I Carumbas for the series so far.
Much more I Carumba than Eat My Shorts, for sure.
We've got 5. Well, we've got 7 I Carumbas. We've had 5 Eat My Shorts.
Nice.
We've had 2 Don't Have a Cowman's and 2 Cowabungas so far.
Oh, so the Cowabungas are much less than anybody's ever expected.
Here's Beverage, my kitty Beverage, making a cameo.
So you have 2 cats. You have Beverage and Sippy Cup.
Yeah.
And is Sippy Cup going to be bigger than Beverage eventually?
No, smaller. She's a little runt.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then. Fine. I guess
A
it
beverage
makes sense.
bigger than a cup.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah,
you know what's going to be
bro.
funny is if we continue counting these and then we check the official numbers and we find out we're off by a significant amount.
I
and then we have to go
probably
back
will
again.
be.
And then we'll have to find out which ones we missed.
Yeah.
for
Dude,
sure.
well, okay, I think another important note today's the first time I had the option to switch it to 4:3 aspect ratio, which
Yes.
pre going live, Andy and I were talking about it. It blows my mind how much better The Simpsons is in 4:3 than it was in the zoomed in. I mean, it feels so much less confined. I mean, it feels like a bigger, more wide open world. I'm amazed with how different it really was. It was like what's the next lines to that? I was gonna go on the whole
place you never knew.
That's the one. That's what I was gonna say.
No one to tell us no or where to go. You know?
Right.
Just living in a whole new world with you.
That's exactly what I was gonna do, but I forgot the words, so I couldn't do the bit. You guys, I'm on timeout.
That is the most well, maybe not the most disgusting one. It's the most alarming song about a man trying to seduce an underage girl because it's marketed to.
Speaking about inappropriate underage things, in this Simpsons episode, freaking what's his name smoking the entire episode.
Oh, this is not the only episode.
Who is that? What's his name?
Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson's just he lit at one point a Strike Anywhere match on Bart's forehead to intimidate him to light his cigarette. How old are they supposed to
Strike
be?
Anywhere matches are awesome.
They really are.
They're 10 years old.
They're 10. So they had a 10-year-old light a match on another 10-year-old's forehead to light his cigarette.
Nelson smokes the whole show. There's an episode where they play youth club football.
Yeah.
And Nelson's the best player, and he runs for a long touchdown at one point, and his response is, "I gotta quit smoking."
Damn.
Now, where do we as a podcast stand? Do 10-year-olds be allowed to smoke? Should we allow it? Should we encourage it even?
There's lots of YouTube videos of little kids smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about the world.
And have you been doing research into this? Have you been filming some of these videos? Is that what you've been up to during quarantine?
I have a website called kidsigs.com.
Right.
And it's just cool videos of kids smoking cigarettes. Yeah.
Sure. And you are out there with a camera hitting the streets, finding kids who are smoking, and you're grabbing
this is an important distinction. I am filming children that are already smoking cigarettes. I do not provide the cigarettes. I don't goad them into smoking the cigarettes. I have nothing to do with the acquisition or the decision.
It sounds to me like you're finding kids
who are smoking cigarettes
in like dark alleys and stuff and asking them if you can film them. That sounds like
well, and now,
easily confusable.
Website, the smokingboys.com.
Right.
I am finding children with perfect little lungs that have never been disturbed by smoke, and I am getting them hooked onto cigarettes.
This is the worst one. This is the worst bit we've ever done.
This is the worst
the worst bit that's ever happened on Homerphilia.
I also have smokin.com, which is SMAOSKING.com. And then that one, I film videos of people smoking cigarettes in the Mask outfit from the hit 1990 film The Mask starring Jim Carrey. That one it's been tough to find people. There's not that many people wearing green masks out there smoking ciggies.
Yeah,
no, and that's why for my Smoking Boys, which is very similar to my original one, it's got a bunch of O's. I am getting zoot suits for kids that are yellow, and I am getting them the mask that actually makes them spin around really fast, and eyes pop out of their head, and getting them addicted to smoking.
I have a website about smoking meats. And it's called smokingmeat.com. But a lot of people send me angry emails because they're disappointed when they get there. And it's a ceramic meat smoker.
See, now I told you about my smoking meat blog.
Yeah.
And you have seemed to be stealing my idea. Mine is called Smoking Meat and Tickling Feet. It's a barbecue / foot fetish website.
Right. Barbecue / foot fetish
or something, and you will feather it, and you will use it to maybe lightly graze the bottom of someone's foot. Right.
Absolutely. Oh, we got some people commenting.
What are they saying?
Pretty okay. Why says pretty okay, but have you seen from the Simpsons series this episode King Size Homer? There appears the whole Simpsons family, so also Bart Simpson Homer Boy fans get to laugh, and of course you will laugh through Homer's fat clothes and others.
Is that a comment written by a robot? What did you say?
He said
one more time for me here.
Pretty okay, but have you seen from the Simpsons series the episode King Size Homer? There appears the whole Simpsons family, so also Bart Simpson Homer Boy fans get to laugh, and of course you will laugh though Homer's fat clothes and others you should watch fast. And then he says, fix fast, and you've probably seen this Simpsons Halloween section when Fat Homer becomes thick, fat pumpkin. Yes, he actually dresses up.
Are you reading a comment right now, or are you making words up?
No, I'm reading a comment. And dresses up to a fatty in a pumpkin suit, and the whole family laughs.
I don't see this comment. I do not see this comment on my screen, and I feel like you're fucking with me.
Is this Patterson's AI dungeon?
Yeah, what are you reading? Why do I not see this on my comments?
It's on the restream.
No, you're making this up, dude. I'm looking at the restream thing. I have no comments here. So
you've probably seen the Simpsons Halloween section when Fat Homer.
Can we just make this comment into a T-shirt, please?
Yes, he actually dresses up to a fat in a pumpkin suit, and the whole family laughs, of course, at Homer's fat gray stomach.
What? All right. All right.
Anyway, the original message from why was about the episode King Size Homer, when Homer finds out that morbid obesity is a disability, so he gets really fat so he doesn't have to go to work.
Oh,
that is an episode I have watched as recently as this month, and it's one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Really?
But I love there's a part where they're having a meltdown at the plant. So he's got to get out there, and he's trying to hitchhike, and he has a sign. He's a huge guy in a muumuu, and he has a sign that says, "Give me a ride or everybody dies."
I do. You know what I
think that our friend why might have. There's a lot of stuff in here about Homer being fatter than normal.
Right.
I think we might have cracked into maybe a kink of our friend why.
Dude, you know what I really, really dug in this episode? I dug the opening. I dug watching Homer just completely fall for what's it called?
Yes.
Telesales or whatever. What's that called?
Yeah.
Infomercial.
Telemarketing.
Infomercial. What is it?
Infomercial.
Yeah, it's like he sides with the mob who's like, we can't pay $39.95, and then what's that the fake doctor's name?
Dr. Nick.
Dr. Nick Riviera
Yes.
is one of my favorite characters so far in The Simpsons. Every time he's there as the expert or he's there as a doctor. He's more of a doctor than any of us. That was a line from.
He's more of a doctor than any of us.
That was a line.
I love Troy McClure's introduction to this. You might know me from such TV series as Buck Henderson, Union Buster.
Right. And then he had another one was like another long drawn out title too. But yeah, Buck Henderson, Union Buster.
Displaying how good this cleaning product is by cleaning Edgar Allan Poe's grave. And
Right.
Nick Riviera's like, it's so dirty and nasty. And Troy McClure goes, oh, I guess we're going to have to throw it away.
I guess I have to throw it out.
And the measuring statistic is enough to clean 1,000 tombstones is how much you can get for $39.95.
My favorite bit in that whole segment was Homer being so excited to buy the cleaning supply that he's smashing the phone with all of his fingers, and he has to set it back down and take a breath so he can calm down enough to call. That's just so funny.
And it's really, really freaking well done because he's interrupted this whole time by Bart asking him for power tools or where safety goggles are. And you like the whole time they're doing the infomercial bit, they are still easing you into the plot, which is it was so well done in this episode because it faded into one another. It wasn't like A into B. It was like A fading into B, which I thought was really well done. That's the first time it really felt like that supernaturally because it wasn't like a setup mini scene. It was. It was two separate bits for sure, but they flowed together so well. Good show.
This is gonna be like classic Simpsons format for a really long time. Is like non sequitur cold open,
right?
Launching into the
AMD.
into the A story. They do this to perfection quite a bit.
I was really in this episode. I was really impressed with the pacing and
it's funny.
Such a well paced episode.
It's funny that our friend why brought up King Size Homer because there's another bit in that episode where Homer can't dial the phone because in that episode his fingers are too fat to only push one button.
Oh, that's great. It's great. But this one does have the classic, my classic complaint already of Homer's just a bad person. He's just, he's trying at points in this episode, but even when he's trying, he's still a bad person. Because he's sitting here, like, literally, again, ignoring Lisa while, like, focusing all his energy on Bart, which is always shitty to see him like that. Mr. Homer.
But he wants to better himself in this
episode. Does. He does want to better, which is better. But
again, a little institution called the National Fatherhood Institute.
Yeah, well, but he also finds a way always to make it about himself, which is always Homer's flaw so far.
If we crack open this for a second, Homer... This he's a 35-year-old man in 1989.
Yep.
Homer is your prototypical baby boomer father.
Right.
Raising a bunch of Gen X shitbags.
Yep.
I think that's perfectly embodied in Homer. Like his whole why solve something today when you can push it off to tomorrow attitude is like perfectly baby boomer. And then you fast forward 30 years, and you've got a millennial dad in Bob Belcher, who loves his kids and supports their weird lifestyles. And that's a show about a family that loves each other and cares about each other, raised by millennial parents. And in this case of The Simpsons, you're watching two baby boomers not really know how to connect their kids.
Yeah, it's like every time Homer learns a lesson, the lesson is always, other people have feelings. Like every time. He's just such a fucking
libertarian.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just like, oh my God, other people are real. Don't. That's the Simpsons for you so far. That
I enjoyed very much that he has this realization, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm a bad father." And Patty's like, "And you're fat too." And then he's like, "I'm fat too."
I'm fat too.
But he's taken the test, and there's a line that I love when he's talking. Milhouse is your favorite character. I'm sure you're going to talk Milhouse lines, Andy.
So,
yeah.
This is officially the first time that we hear Homer reference Milhouse as that little wiener kid.
The little wiener kid who always has his hands in his pockets. It's such a... Again, Milhouse isn't even there, and he steals the show. The little wiener kid who always has his hands in his pockets.
From now on, whenever you hear Homer talk about Bart's friends, he always talks about that little wiener or that little. He's
like, because the question is name one of your son's friends, and Homer's like, the fat or the little wiener kid who always has his hands in his pockets. What's that one?
This is the first time that we've ever heard him call Milhouse that little wiener kid, and everybody immediately knows exactly who he's talking about.
Yep.
It's so good.
I agree. I think as far as like, I think Milhouse is up there, like laughs per. He's always comic relief for me. Always, it's always funny. I think he's got the most per capita laughs for sure.
Yeah.
From me.
Yeah.
That or Smithers. I love Smithers though. I love Smithers so much.
Yeah. He's a great character as well.
I like the runner in this with Patty and Selma about the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yeah.
James L. Brooks, who is a co-developer of The Simpsons, created the Mary Tyler Moore show. And I like all these tiny little references to it. Like they reference the tagline to the show. They were talking about Ed Asner a bit. I loved that. I don't know. It was very up my alley.
We get, I think this is the first time we ever see Barney get pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
It definitely won't be the last.
No, at one point he said, I'm pretty sure at one point in time he did get maced already because he had some bit about, oh, you got that new bear mace or something. You remember that one?
It really hurt.
Because he could tell, he could tell that it was like the higher quality pepper spray because he's been pepper sprayed so many times. But he might have just been referencing.
It really hurt.
Yeah. So I think it's our second Barney getting pepper sprayed.
Yeah. They make a trip to the VHS Village, formerly Beta Barn.
Yeah.
Great joke.
I love that Homer gets football's most gruesome injuries. That's his rental purchase.
It's like he's choosing between most gruesome injuries, blood on the ice, like all these.
That reminds me of all those tapes that I hid around the ant of sports bloopers that I bought at Salvation Army.
I was just there, and I just found another Field of Dreams.
Hell yes.
They're just everywhere.
We should do at the ant with sports bloopers VHS tapes what Everything Is Terrible did with Jerry's.
Yeah.
Even upside down crosses, build a pyramid in the desert.
Start a religion.
Yeah, we should build we should start a religion based around football injury tapes. They do reference a real one of the most famous and gruesome football injuries ever. He is distracted from the TV by Marge, and he's like, "You made me miss Joe Theismann." That's a real. That was a Notre Dame quarterback who like completely ripped apart his entire leg on the field once.
And that's why we watch it, for the carnage.
Oh hell yeah! The one clip they showed from the football tape was somebody called like the Galloping Gazelle or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the poetry of the lines because that's exactly what those old school NFL film tapes are like. But he's like, the Galloping Gazelle grazed on the frozen green tundra of the end zone. That shit rules.
I think my favorite chunk of this episode is him going to the National Fatherhood Institute. Like, what a weird bit. Like, he gets them on the phone, and they're like, oh, no, it's an emergency. Hold all my meetings. We'll send a brown-paneled station wagon to come pick you up.
Yeah. I love that. I love the very last thing that we see is that the Fatherhood Institute was watching like a NASA mission, and they're all celebrating like they landed on the moon.
That's my joke. I mean, that's my joke of the day on that one for sure, 100%. I love that they went to that, and it just looked like a NASA successful thing. They're all going crazy.
All the stuff in the lab where they pass like a father and son fishing in a tank with like cardiograms all over them. They've got underwater fathering. It's teaching him to do homework.
Did anybody write down what Homer calls the guy before he's like Mr. Brooding Inspector Guy? What do you know, Mr. Brooding Inspector Guy?
I forget.
It was something funny. I didn't write it down. But then he's like, how often do you talk to your son? And then they have the moment where his son works with him.
And then his son turns, and you see that the kid in the underwater fathering tank is being eaten by a shark. And he goes, "Oh no, not again!"
Again.
Which means they put the shark in the tank.
No, not again. Yeah, that shit's great.
We get a lot of thing on Bill Cosby in this episode, which I love.
Oh boy, yeah.
Direct competitor to The Simpsons at this time. Slot. I think at this time, I don't think The Simpsons had moved to Sunday yet.
Yeah. So The Simpsons kind of took down Cosby, not in the way that Hannibal Buress did, but Fox at this point was an afterthought in the whatever, the primetime lineup wars.
Right.
Cosby Show dominated, shit like that. Then they got their first kind of like taste of success with Married with Children. And then when this shit came out, instead of carving out their own night of the week, they went like straight head to head with Cosby Show and ended up like burying them a little bit. So it sucks in certain ways because it legitimized Fox as a network, and it allowed their platform to grow. And I think it's safe to say that without The Simpsons helping build up Fox, I don't think Donald Trump would be president without The Simpsons.
Absolutely not. Rupert Murdoch would not have a media empire if it were not for The Simpsons.
Hey, Coates, how's it going? Hey, Bergs, how's it going?
I think we can
Anthony Coates
directly
here
blame.
too.
We can directly blame The Simpsons' mere existence for Donald Trump taking office so many years later because of the proliferation of Fox News and the legitimacy that Simpsons brought to the Fox network as a whole. So that's where we are.
I think Fox would never. I don't think Fox would still be a television channel. It would not be a network.
It very well might not be. They were not. I think it was something like. So there was NBC, CBS, and ABC were the three major networks that you get. And PBS. You can pull those off an antenna. They're free. And instead of wanting to be another cable channel like other brands that were building up in the late 80s, early 90s, Fox wanted to go the other way and force their way into being another network. And that plan was not really going good. And they were only in they weren't even in half of American television sets at the time that The Simpsons started, but the popularity of Married with Children and then this one,
Cops
made it so people really wanted
Cops?
that shit.
Wait, Cops is on Fox?
Mm-hmm.
I just heard today that Cops is starting their 33rd season.
I heard today that Cops and Live PD are both taking themselves off the air during the protests.
Oh, really? Wow. Good for them.
So they are stopped. Yeah, they're quitting the glorification of cops.
Now, without The Simpsons, though, by extension, that means we would not have the TV show Succession.
Von Wink,
Murdoch would not.
Victor also says that the other side of it too is they bought the NFL games.
That's
Right.
true. That was a huge part of it.
I don't think that. Yeah, they wouldn't have. I don't think they would have had an opportunity to do that without the Simpsons. You know, this is their shit. This is their bread and butter.
And then the X-Files too, because they make a joke during the Simpsons spin-off showcase where they're like, Fox has hours of programming to fill, and they show the Fox lineup, and it's X-Files, Melrose Place, The Simpsons, and then dozens of blank squares with question marks.
But that would they are pretty. At this point now in the third season, they're already like crushing ratings. Like this show is a phenomenon already, and they are starting to be more confident in their voice, and they will continue to be ruthless to their own network for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
They like their jokes about the media are most aggressive toward their own parent company, which I've always really appreciated about The Simpsons.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we get into the meat of this episode, which is about this Soapbox Derby, and loosely they reference a 1973 Soapbox Derby cheating scandal. They reference it in Nelson's car when like he has something in the front of the car and Nelson tells him to shut up. Apparently in 1973, this kid put an electromagnet in the front of his car that he would start by pressing his head back on the headrest, and the electromagnet would turn on and the starting gate would pull the car forward to begin the race.
That's amazing.
Kid got in a bunch of trouble for it.
Wow.
Which is like
seeing is like
reward that innovation.
Did you look that up? That's like a real.
Yeah.
That's a real soapbox car scandal.
Yeah.
My favorite line about the soapbox car stuff was they televised the final race, which I always appreciate The Simpsons when they show some dumb shit like this or like mini golf. It's always on television, which is like ridiculous. So they've got this old school British sports commentator, and he's like, "Welcome to the Soapbox Car Championship, a simple hobby, harkening back to the." He goes, "Harkening back." To the carefree days of the Great Depression.
Oh, and the graphic is the stock market line like this, and then on the steep drop, it fades to a soapbox riding the dropping like line chart, which is that I love that bit. That's a good visual gag. I bet you that visual gag would not have been great on the old Zoom. Yeah. That's one of those ones.
Exactly what we do as a society is like pine for a nostalgia of days past, and like to call it the carefree days of the Great Depression is so fucking funny to me.
Yeah,
when
we're living in a world, we always have nostalgia for this idealized, non-existent version of America in the 50s when it was like we were actually marred by the Korean War and shit.
Yeah,
I lived that.
And greasers were beating up socias all over America. Do you really want that back, America?
Did you learn about that in your history class, Andy? My greasers and the socias.
My history class, I believe the title of it was Remedial English 101. We learned about the greasers and the socias in history. No, but it's the same way that people talk about George W. Bush or H.W. Bush as like America's cute, fun grandpa now. It's like, well, I guess we're just going to wash over the war crime stuff.
I love it. I love the level of action in the Soapbox Derby races. They're well shot action sequences for this show.
Yeah.
Like the inside the soapbox camera angles where it's just like the shaking face.
Yeah.
They do a good job at that.
Wait, what's the bully kid's name? Nelson
Muntz.
I like Nelson in this episode too, a little bit. He
just Anthony Coates is hopping off. He just wanted to say, pop in and say, "Awesome job, bros."
Hey,
Thanks,
Coates.
Coach.
What up, Coach? Check out
Thank
Mask
you.
Off on Friday, baby.
Yes.
9:00.
Yeah. I really appreciated that all of the soapbox races were shot like like a chariot race from a Greek movie from like the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like Spartacus.
Yeah, it was. They were all shot like Ben-Hur shit or something like that. It was great.
Yeah. I love Martin bursting into flames.
Yeah, I love the Martin thing too.
Yeah.
Him bursting into him hitting the wall. Classic parachute deploys as he hits the wall. That's a classic bit. They're not too good for those, and they know it. But I think that's the kind of joke that like when you like I don't know, it's weird to me for them to do something as stereotypical as hit the wall, parachute goes off as soon as it's too late, car bursts into flames, instantly fire truck pulls up, puts out fire. Like that sequence is it's tacky if you're not. I don't know. It felt good. It felt like a good cheesy sequence that I really liked.
Another cartoon would be the end of the sequence.
Right.
But The Simpsons allows all of their consequences to unfold. So the next cut is Martin in the hospital, as it should.
Right, and it reminds me of a scene earlier that I thought they did really well, which was. It was Bart's homework. Then it falls in a puddle outside. Then the dog rips it up, and then it gets struck by lightning. That was another one that was like a good, quick sequence. That they've done that a few times now. That I've been like, okay, that's funny. Okay, that's funny. Oh, that's heightening, and it's just heightening 101. You know.
That's heightening. Now that's what I call heightening. Is a comedy compilation CD that I'm working on right now. It's called Now That's What I Call Heightening. This is when Nelson in the hospital and like recovering from his injury is my favorite. Like, not Nelson. I'm sorry, Martin. This is my favorite like Martin mode. Is because when he gets like this, it's always like he was plucked out of a Tennessee Williams play and dropped into an episode of The Simpsons because he always gets this like melodramatic air about it. It's always really funny to me. Uh-oh, I think we lost Dev Boy.
Is he frozen or does he just look like that?
Maybe he just looks like that.
He looks kind of like Aphex Twin.
Yeah.
His weird eyes. Well, maybe he'll be back.
Yeah, we'll see. Whatever.
We'll see. I don't know. I think this was all around a solid episode. I really, really enjoyed this one. I really did. Like it.
Yeah.
Overall, I think the pacing was good. I think there was an element of heart there. I think like the whether Homer realized it or not, like it seemed like the key to him like being a good parent was realizing that he needs to want to be a good parent. And that's kind of the moral of this one. He didn't really figure anything out other than like, oh, hey, pay attention to your kid and what your kid likes.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of growth there between them that I thought was good.
Yeah. I mean, this is the crux of every Simpsons episode where it's Homer and one of the kids.
Yeah.
It's always that he takes them for granted. Or doesn't pay attention to them enough, doesn't feel like he knows his children. He'll have this epiphany over and over.
Was there any
Lisa
again. Payoff? I don't know. What happened with the Lisa stuff? Because he was ignoring
in this
Lisa.
episode?
Yeah. Did he just take her to the VHS store and rent her a VHS and then that was it for her?
Yeah, this is a Lisa light episode. Yeah. She's kind of I
didn't remember if they had like. I didn't realize if they'd resolved her plot or anything or tried to do anything with it.
I don't think. Yeah, she wasn't too. She wasn't too demanding of his attention in this episode, and sometimes she will be. You know, there's great Homer and Lisa episodes as well. But yeah,
damn.
I did. I love that. Like Bart really is just an independent soul. Like he's never really eager for Homer's affection or that he yearns for it at all. He's really comfortable just like going off on his own. He doesn't want help with the soapbox. You know, he doesn't really want to keep the family to keep tabs on him. He really is just
I also liked the reverse psychology bit. In the middle I forgot about that where Bill he opens the Bill Cosby's Guide to Parenting book or whatever. Devin's back! Yay!
Hey.
But he opens
Trish is in the comments.
Oh, really? What'd she say?
She says, "What up, Grot Boy?"
Yo.
Trisha's my best man.
But yeah, Trisha, how are you doing? You doing all right? You doing all right out there, Trisha?
She gave the speech at my wedding, and she made me and Anna cry, and she gave me the hard copy of the speech afterwards, so I can go back and read it in my olden days and remember the times we used to have.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Wait. Devin's resetting his modem right now. Sorry, Devin.
Modem reset, bro.
Modem reset.
What did you miss out on? We talked a little bit about the Simpsons.
Did you talk shit about me?
No.
We talked we gotta come clean.
Your face kind of froze. That looked kind of a little bit like Aphex Twin to me. The way that your face froze. So I did say
we
that.
kind of spilled some of your dirty laundry on the stream.
You told them about what I've been working on?
Yeah, about your patented penis lengthener.
Yes.
Yeah, we we also told them
I've been failing to get a patent for it because
it's just Miracle Grow. It's just a bag of Miracle Grow you got from Home Depot and you've been rubbing it on your junk.
No, you funnel it in.
Yeah.
To the urethra.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You mix it into a solution and you funnel it in.
Okay, but here's your problem though, is that you can't just take an existing property and put it somewhere it doesn't normally go and say, this is my patent now.
Yeah, that is what I have learned after spending almost $1 million on patent lawyers for this thing.
If I took my garbage disposal and put it in the drain in my bathtub, I couldn't try to patent it as a new thing. It's just the same thing in a place it doesn't normally go. So fucking manure doesn't usually go in somebody's urethra, so you can't.
Yeah, and the major issue, in addition to the fact that I am just stealing an existing idea, is that it is not working, and my insides are really bad now.
Oh, they're bad?
Yeah, I've been growing. I've been blossoming. By which I mean I have just had a growth of flowers and grass and weeds sprouting from my stomach and thighs and around the genital area, and
you were actually the basis for The Odd Life of Timothy Green. Yeah, but they changed a couple key concepts, because in that movie it's just a little boy that was born and he's growing weeds out of him.
Right, they didn't show how he got there part of it.
Right, and you really fought tooth and nail for them to keep that part in. And they were like, "It's a family movie. We can't show the main character stuffing Miracle Grow into his dick." And you're like, "But that's my story."
Right, and they don't even understand how the bills are piling up, because I do have to hire someone to come to my house, and I will lay on my grass, and they will run me in the grass over with a lawnmower to shear me, because there's no other way to trim all of these flowers and grass.
What happens to the non-leaves and grass parts of you when they run you over with the lawnmower?
They get just absolutely shredded, just carnage. It's like just a blender just scooping over me.
Oh God, that's brutal.
Yeah.
There honestly has to be a better way to clean you up than running you over with a lawnmower.
I can't think of one.
Off the top of my head, I can't either, and that's distressing for me. My initial hunch is that you should stop shoving Miracle Grow down your dick.
Now that is the part that has not occurred to me before.
Okay, I know, and that's what I'm saying.
But then I would have to stop eating all the dirt I've been eating.
Yes, please stop eating dirt.
Okay, but then what am I going to do when I lay out in the sprinkler?
Devin is getting all of his nutrients from the worms in the dirt in his backyard that he's just shoveling down his throat.
Yeah, and it has actually not been good for my nutrition. It turns out there are a lot of nutrients that worms don't provide. like vitamins and almost all of them.
Although, in this new era of a pandemic, we're all worried about our immune systems and the bacteria living within our systems. We've been systematically destroying our natural gut bacteria in recent decades, and the doctor said that you had more bacteria in your gut than any person he's ever seen before.
Yeah, he said it's a lot. He said it's not like it's just lining my gut, but it's just one big mass, like a big ball about the size of a softball and about as dense.
Yeah,
bacteria.
It's like a medicine ball of bacteria.
He said he wants to cut it out of me, and I said no. That's the only family I have now. And I'm not going to let him cut it out of me. I actually recently found out that the Venus Flytrap started out as a podcaster who just slowly got interested in biochemistry, and now we have a whole bunch of plants that eat flies.
Yeah. You know what? It is cool, and you should keep doing. You've convinced me. You should keep doing it.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to join in, buy my patented system. It is. It's very expensive, but I'll put you guys in. I'll give you some links.
What's it called?
Trisha says, "Oh yeah, what's it called? What's your patented invention called?"
It's called Miracle Grow. Put it in the funnel, cram it in your urethra. Devin Rose system.
We told you to take another pitch on the name.
I know, but
But
I thought it was catchy. It rolls off the tongue. The Miracle Grow. Cram it in the funnel. Put it in your urethra. The Devin Rose system.
I suggested Miracle Bone.
Yeah, that was funnier, but it's not memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, what's more memorable than Miracle Grow? Cram it in your funnel in your urethra, put it down there, the Devin Rose system.
It's hard for something to be memorable if you can't remember how to say it right.
Yeah, well, no, it's obviously we all heard what I said. It's Miracle Grow. You get a fucking funnel and you cram it in there, and put all that in their urethra, Devin Rose system.
Yeah. Well, in the business classes I took in college, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but all of the business classes I took, I learned that when they invented McDonald's, their first name for it was burgers, but it's from a place that is real fun and like you get it really fast and it comes in a sack and then you can just shove it down your face.
And I have to keep that. But then Justin Timberlake said, "Drop the it's cleaner."
Yeah. I'm loving it.
I've got a degree in freaking horticulture from the School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, I've got a degree in horny culture
I kind of do too. I'm kind of at the epicenter of horniness and plant culture.
Yeah.
I am kind of in the middle of just like, what if you could turn your dick into plant?
I might not be very well respected mainstream, but I am very well respected in the horny community.
Yeah.
Trisha says this is much better. I was getting sick of you guys talking about The Simpsons.
She has come to the right podcast.
Yeah.
We
really flipped the ratio today. We went about 40 minutes.
Time out. You got a new shelf for what? What are you talking about? Are you doing inside jokes on our comments?
Are our top fans doing inside jokes together?
What the? Don't do inside jokes on the comments.
Do outside jokes.
Do outside jokes.
Two people competing to be our biggest fan are talking to each other. It's beautiful. Great
jokes, guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The top fan is Neil Diamond, and he says hi. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that our good friend Alex Bergman has been quarantined with Neil Diamond this entire time. That really makes me happy.
Tired, man. I'm tired today, you guys.
Did Berg's quarantine with Neil Diamond, but he is physically quarantined with him. He has Neil Diamond and a baby Bjorn that he has been carrying him around the entire quarantine.
Yeah.
He's had to feed and bathe him like a kangaroo, keeping him in his joey. Or keeping his joey in the pouch.
The last day I worked at the last day I worked before everything was shut down and the world ended, I watched Saving Silverman on the TV at the bar 2 times.
That's why all this happened, you fucking idiot.
That's
you
right.
did this. You broke everything by watching Saving Silverman twice in a row.
Yeah, I got there that day because I stopped in because I eat lunch where Andy works a lot, and I stopped in and it was a movie starting. And that's what it really happened. It was the second. It was the second watch through.
We had been talking about it in like underrated comedies, and I was like, Saving Silverman is the most underrated comedy of all time. And everybody at work was like, what are you talking about? That's a stupid movie. So I rented it on Amazon Prime. And then after purchasing, like putting money to watching it, I was like, we might as well just start it again. And I had a great time watching it back to back.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, thanks, bud. I lost my job because you did this.
Yeah. I think it's only right and fair that whenever Traffic Jam reopens, that will be the first movie that we show on the bar TV.
I'm going to pose a question to you guys. If watching Saving Silverman twice in a row shut the world down, what movie do we have to watch twice in a row to open it back up?
Well,
I'm thinking 40 Days and 40 Nights, maybe.
Yeah, if it was most underrated comedy, Saving Silverman, then we have to think of the most overrated comedy.
Hangover 2.
Hangover 2,
dude. Watch Bowfinger twice, Alex Bergman says.
I would watch. I think I have Bowfinger on DVD.
What's the most overrated comedy movie of all time?
I'm gonna Google it to see what the internet thinks because I'm sure they have bad opinions.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Caddyshack.
So I have
Meet
10
the Fockers
10 extremely overrated comedies that just weren't that funny. Meet the Fockers, Austin Powers, Knocked Up, Elf, Scary Movie, Get Him to the Greek, Napoleon Dynamite, Trainwreck. Actually, I kind of like a lot of movies on that list.
Yeah, I'll go to bat for Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, and I like Get Him to the Greek too. I like Elf. I like Elf. Elf was good. Come on, what are you talking about?
Elf,
it's great.
Waterboy?
I liked Elf.
The Grand Forks Herald. This is where I get my entertainment news, is the Grand Forks, North Dakota Herald. I don't know about you guys, but the North Dakota Grand Forks Herald says that Caddyshack is the most overrated comedy of all time, and I think that maybe has to be true.
Wait, that again? What movie?
Caddyshack.
Oh, I could, yeah.
But wasn't Caddyshack like a turning point in that it was doing things that, I don't know, like what was happening in comedy when Caddyshack came out, I guess is my point.
Well,
because we're looking at it through the lens of kind of being spoiled by comedy.
I mean, watching it in terms of a futile and stupid gesture or whatever the other documentary about that is, I don't know, I feel like that made me like it.
Yeah.
They did not like it. So it's the National Lampoon guys.
Yeah.
It was their follow-up to Animal House.
Right.
And they finished that movie, and it was a lot harder of a shoot than Animal House. And they like wrapped it up, and they were like, "Oh well, we just made a stinker," and didn't expect it to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of what else was going on in comedy then, because I think that's important. I think the context is important when you're talking about overrated movies.
Yeah. I'll tell you what was going on in comedy is the early days of Saturday Night Live. And if you ever actually go back and watch like the first 2 or 3 seasons of Saturday Night Live, it is rough.
Yeah.
It is like, I'm not even like, a lot of times I'm like, is this part not supposed to be fun? Like it's very weird, very strange stuff going on.
I mean,
there is funny stuff in it, but much like Monty Python's Flying Circus, the ratio, all sketch comedy, the ratio of good to bad is like 10%
yeah, but I think when you're
good.
getting into Monty Python, I mean, you're again talking about like one of the reasons it's great is because they were doing things differently than other people were doing. You know what I mean? They inspired so much of modern comedy. Like we get to see the closer, the further developed version of all of that stuff, and then judge the originators by that lens, and that's not super fair. It's like judging. Go ahead.
I think part of it is that comedy is one of the harder art forms to make something timeless.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you watch like a solid drama or like an action movie. You watch an action movie from the 80s, it's like a completely different vibe from our action movies now, but they're still enjoyable. Dramas are much easier to be like timeless, obviously. But if you're starting to think about like the best comedies of all time and you pull from the 70s or 80s, it does not play like it used to. So
right. Well, because so much of comedy is commentary on now. You know what is relatability. I mean, we know that from improv. So much it comes from relatability. I mean, at its core, you're just setting an expectation and then, somehow going against that expectation. But like in reality, the stuff that really is meaningful to people is the stuff that they connect with. And it's just like obviously comedy done by people we can relate to right now about today, this world that we live in, is going to hit us better than not really understanding. Like Caddyshack, I never really loved through the lens of just like trying to watch it as a comedy. But I think like after like same with Monty Python. Like I never like totally. I don't love Monty Python for
it is
that.
It is hard to connect. I think there are like generational senses of humor,
right?
And it's hard to go back and connect to another generation's sense of humor in a different way. That like I can go back and appreciate dramas or action movies from the 70s in a way like I watch a comedy from the 70s and it's like icky. Yeah, there's a lot of icky back.
There's a lot of icky.
But
my generation's comedy is pretending to have a wife and kids.
Yeah, right. I mean it's just. Yeah. And but you see people who don't get it. It's the same people who are. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So I think it's not impossible to make timeless comedies.
My mom just texted me to say stop biting my nails, which means she's tuning in. Hi, Renee Marie. How are you doing?
That's amazing.
I've been biting my nails too, I think.
That's awesome. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a timeless classic comedy.
Yeah.
That is one of the funniest movies of all time. I will always go to bat for Dumb and Dumber. I think that's a timeless classic comedy. And then there are the like Buster Keaton, like those physical comedy, like early comedy. There's nothing like controversial. Like it's still that shit's still funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough, but like you go back and watch like I don't know, a lot of like Laurel and Hardy or some shit. Yeah. It's like I don't know. It's a generational thing. What we find funny.
Yeah, I mean, like I go like I think of in the topic of like overrated. I can't deal with like the stereotypical like Adam Sandler movie like now, especially nowadays. Like I don't get it. I don't get. Like there are funny moments in like the Billy Madisons, there are funny moments in the Waterboys of the world, sure, but like that's like a whole genre of comedy that just feels, especially now.
Bergman says American Pie is the most overrated.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, American Pie is, but it's
in all of the American Pie movies.
But American Pie though is such a slice of '90s though. It really is like.
Mm-hmm.
Eugene Levy in the same year wrote A Mighty Wind and starred in it while he was in like American Reunion or whatever the hell.
You know, one of the funniest things about Eugene Levy to me is that he is a huge supporter of Canadian filmmaking and comedy. So he's in all of these awful Canadian-born movies like Gooby, where it's like you're a celebrity. You're like a legit like respected actor, and you're in this trash.
Goofy rocks. Also, Hagrid from Harry Potter is the voice of Goofy.
I know that movie is baffling to me.
Goofy rocks. We should watch Gooby.
All right, we'll watch Gooby.
We don't even have to do it for the podcast. We should just do it recreationally.
I'm cool with watching Gooby. I don't know what that is. I'm into the idea.
Oh, Darren, you're in for a treat. This week we're watching Gooby.
All right, I'll watch Gooby.
It's a movie where a pretty well adjusted boy, his teddy bear wakes up and becomes alive. When usually in a movie like that, the kid is like having like real problems. This kid is fine, and his teddy bear wakes up and kind of haunts him. He ruins his life.
I watched Gooby for the first time at Miles DeLue's uncle's house. We were hanging out. She was house sitting in East Point, and it was just one of the funnest nights of my life. Gooby rocked.
Victor, puns are my favorite form of comedy. You can ask anybody.
Puns
and
are
wordplay.
Your favorite form of comedy.
Same with Darren.
That's what I said. No, Victor asked me if I made a pun intentionally.
Oh yeah. Puns are your favorite form of comedy.
Yes.
Victor, I'm known to do like pun intros to things and stuff like that. I love puns.
Kurt Breaker just hopped in the chat to say, I didn't think Uncut Gems was funny at all. And brother, you're on the wrong show because we think it's fucking hilarious.
I've still never seen Uncut Gems, but it sounds like a good one.
I'm so fucked up. I'm so sad.
I'm so sad. I'm so fucked up.
That's funny as hell.
To me, I'm laughing.
Jeez, you guys got favorite anything, or do you want to wrap up the plot there? What happened? Bart, what? Bart,
It was very funny to me to hear to watch Homer charge at Martin Prince and call him a homewrecker.
Yeah, that's funny at the hospital.
I would 100% love to see Homer just beat up Martin.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a couple really like incisive lines. I liked when Homer's in mid like reconnection with his son, he tells Marge, he goes, I love that little kid. I love him so much. He reminds me of me before the weight of the world crushed my spirit.
That's how I feel when I see my old profile picture from 10 years ago.
That's a good joke.
You guys got any funniest jokes?
Dude, I'm gonna go with the end. Just the National Fatherhood Institute doing the NASA Control Center.
I'm right there with you on that. I don't know. I really like the whole sequence of Homer falling for an infomercial. I thought that back and forth was well done for sure. I did like Troy McClure also though.
I loved after how much gushing Bart did over his hero, 3-time Soapbox Derby. Ronnie Beck. I loved that Ronnie Beck presents the trophy and he's younger than Bart.
Yeah.
He looks like a little British orphan.
Yeah.
He's a tiny child. And then
he's Adam Wallstrom in Twin Peaks.
Yeah. He's a tiny child and he's like, thank you, Bart. This brought back a lot of memories. I thought that was really funny. But I think the funniest thing was that Soapbox Derby racing harkens back to the carefree days of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Are we changing favorite apps?
Dude, I'm going to just jump out and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it today.
Boom!
I
don't know.
Here's what I'm saying. I think if you're talking full app, like I didn't have my favorite jokes I've ever seen in it. But I think this episode didn't need to have a favorite joke because it was so well paced. It had enough heart, enough jokes, enough dumb gags. It had highbrow wordplay. It had lowbrow dumb jokes. It had visual. It had everything. It was a good app.
This was the funniest app.
I wanted to be distracted. I was cooking food while watching this, and I ended up letting my food burn a little because I got distracted.
Wow.
Yeah, and I care about cooking.
Wow.
No,
this was the funniest.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm not changing my favorite because Lisa's substitute was
Right.
heartwarming, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is definitely the funniest one I've seen so far.
Yeah, it didn't rely on one gag or one joke. You know, it was a quality episode of The Simpsons.
I am also not changing. This is a really good ep. So I'm at Homer Defined. Devin is at Lisa's substitute, and Darren is at Saturdays of Thunder.
Saturdays of Thunder.
I will predict right now that at least one of us is changing next week for Flaming Moe's.
Yeah, I probably already have.
I know, right? So we have next week. We have an all-time classic, and then in like 3 or 4 weeks after that, we've got Homer at the Bat. So I know for sure that I am not long for standing on Homer Defined. I don't know. I haven't watched Flaming Moe's for a long time. I don't know if I'm going to change next week, but I have a good feeling that I predict right now that in the 6 weeks or whatever, we will all be unified in saying that Homer at the Bat is our favorite episode.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's the next time that we're all going to change.
Great.
In one. Yeah.
You guys want to thank some sponsors?
I want to thank my sponsor. It's kind of an upstart company here in Harper Woods. They're called Miracle Bone. It's a fantastic product that will lengthen the size of your penis, and you don't have to stuff manure down the urethra.
I would like to thank sponsor a new upstart here in Hazel Park. It's called Miracle Groin, and it's a product where you do have to stuff manure in your urethra.
That is so much better. Miracle Groin. Oh my god.
You guys, I don't have a sponsor, but our ad time was purchased by a coalition of local farmers. They want to put out a message that they desperately are in need of fertilizer for all of society. Their crops are all going to die. What happened? Someone help us, please. Again, that is from a coalition of local farmers.
Oh boy.
Jeez. All right. I think that's what we got. We're back next week, right? Next week with a classic, Flamin' Moe's. You guys, if you do want to watch the episode, check it out. Check out the episode, and you can comment in with your opinions. You can even leave your opinion of the episode on the page, and we'll reference it if you feel like watching it sometime this week and leaving a little review.
Yeah. So Homerphilia is in a bit of a transition right now. Our podcast feed has lapsed a little bit. We've got a small but mighty number of people that are tuning in to these weekly chats. We are going to start taping regular episodes again. What happens to these what happens to these COVID ones in the middle, we don't know. If we're going to release them in an audio format, or if we're just going to dump them and start fresh again. But please keep following us. Tell friends if you enjoy it. Tell friends to join us along with this. It's been really fun, and we want more people tuning in and engaging with us. So, yeah, follow us into the future.
Yeah.
Or the past.
Or the now.
We're talking about
All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.